This is CB Up for Discussion, a podcast series from Community Business where we tackle DE&I and wellbeing hot topics with special guests from across Asia.
Hi everyone! Happy Pride Month! My name is Jace Robles and my pronouns are she and hers. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Community Business. I'm a neurodivergent bisexual Filipina currently living in Thailand, and I will be your host for today's episode. Moving to a country that recognizes my 19-year relationship with my partner has always been a dream for me. When we moved to Thailand, Bangkok in particular, a little over 2 years ago, I've always seen it as a temporary stop considering equal marriage was something the country has only aspired for at the time. A couple of years later, it has been great to see the journey LGBTQ plus activists in Thailand have taken to reach the milestone of marriage equality in the country, a first in Southeast Asia. So as we celebrate Pride Month, we would like to celebrate the milestone for Thailand and understand what the journey to marriage equality look like in the hopes of inspiring progress for the rest of Southeast Asia. Today, we will also explore what this milestone means towards greater LGBTQ plus inclusion in Thailand. So I'm very honored to introduce our guest today, Danny Kittinun Dharamadaj. And with him, his interpreter, Ohm. President of the Rainbow Sky Association of Thailand and lawyer, Danny is a leading advocate for LGBTQ plus rights, and Danny has played a key role in this transformative legislation which went in effect on the 23rd of January this year. So, Danny, thank you for joining us. Could you tell us a little more about yourself and what inspired you to become such a passionate advocate for LGBTQ plus rights in Thailand?
Hello, Kun Jace, and also all the audience. So, we have to accept that, in Thai language, we call the alternative, the gender group of people in the Thai language. So, and that's why it makes me, it motivates me to actually study the laws pertaining to our community. So when I grew up, by saying that we are the people of sexual diversity in terms of experiencing the legal issues. And we have been affected, because I have been affected personally in terms of the laws and policies before I turned myself into the advocates under with Rainbow Sky Association of Thailand, because I was a business entrepreneur. Before that, I did a lot of entertainments. Did the housing projects and we have seen a lot of, there was a project that they took to actually constructed a village for LGBT people in the past. But then again, it was attacked by the society back then a lot, like, they are promiscuous, they're bad people. So the business that we tried to establish back then, that it was not possible. So when I turned myself into the entertainment businesses, the situation was also the same, similar to Stonewall in 1969 of New York, because the police raided in our entertainment establishments, saying that, oh, this is a lot of gay people hanging out like that. So that's why it's a situation is I call this situation like a Thailand Stonewall incident. So that's why we had to stand up and fight for ourselves in terms of, in terms of discrimination on the ground of sexual orientation and gender identity. So I have to find the opportunities and organizations to work. And at that time, there was the Rainbow Sky Association of Thailand, in which I'm the president right now, but it was established more than 20 years ago. But at the beginning, in the first 2 years, it came from the issues of HIV and AIDS, like led by the late Secretary General. He was the social worker at the Thai Red Cross Society, and he just passed away 2 months ago. So 20 years of the journey, we have been a long way. So eventually, the issues that he had fought for at the beginning, 26 years ago, it was mostly on HIV. Jess, do you know that in terms of HIV, it came to Thailand approximately 40 years ago? So 40 years ago, it was led by someone who identified themselves as the people with same-sex practices. So the news at back then it said that that person who brought HIV into Thailand was a homosexual and had sex with the same-sex person. So why the whole world could not accept HIV even back then? So there was and we were still struggling in terms of strengthening the LGBT community back then. So these two different issues were combined creating a chance to build the capacity of LGBT community. At that time, on HIV prevention at the beginning, and later the issues about the human rights and human rights violation became addressed later, and creating opportunities so that they becoming the point of our work under Rainbow Sky Association Thailand. And then we have the board members, and then I trained myself, became the member, the vice president, and then the president of Rainbow Sky. Totally 7 years. And so, and my point is that I would like to bring all three different ways. First of all, we are part of the LGBT community. And second point is that we have the knowledge, legal knowledge. And third is that we have the opportunities to serving as the NGO and CBO for people with sexual diversity. All three inspired together. All of this has inspired me to do this, to advocate. A number of things that I have done in the past, starting from at the beginning, when the WHO said that they leave out the homosexuality out of the ICD-10, right? Approximately 30 years ago that we start to do that, and later we do it with the military conscription in Thailand in terms of exempting trans women, because in the past they were exempted on the ground of having the permanent mental illness, which is like a sickness and incapacitated person. So we changed that from having the permanent illness to only to what we call gender not conforming with biological sex, so that they have a better rights and they're no longer sick. So you can see that we creating more space for LGBT people to advocate for our rights, because the WHO has already certified that, and we no longer have mental illness. So this turned into our point to fight and advocate for our rights, and we start to have the more roles in the society until these days. So this is the brief introduction that I just would like to lay off the other backgrounds to you.
Thank you so much, Kundani. And it's really inspiring how you married all your expertise, your passion, and your drive towards intersectional inclusion and really driving marriage equality, which is really a historic win for the country. And I know it hasn't been an easy journey, just in terms of how you talked about it. And congratulations. Can you walk us through the process, specifically on the advocacy for marriage equality, and perhaps highlight what actually convinced Thailand to pass the Marriage Equality Act? How challenging was it?
Well, one thing that I could tell you is that the number that is not incredible in terms of family formation law. Because we didn't understand what it means by equal marriage. What does it mean by civil partnership? We had no idea, but we just wanted to have the same-sex marriage. It took 23 years, not 14 years, 23 years since the start to actually achieve the marriage equality in Thailand, to become the first country, because we saw that in 2001, Netherlands was the first country who had the marriage equality. Right. So deep down, we feel a little bit envious, because we know that Thailand is some kind of the LGBT friendly country and more advancement in terms of LGBT human rights. And so and back then the Prime Minister came out and said that, well, Thailand was not ready. And a lot of influencers or stakeholders among LGBT community, nobody stood up back then in order to fight for themselves. So on that day, it makes the setback for 10 years, 10 years without any progress at all. So there were just only like researches conducted among same-sex couples about their need in terms of family formation, and the result turned out positive, saying that all same-sex couples should be able to enjoy the same rights as any other heterosexual couples. That's laying the ground for marriage equality. And a lot of couples actually it happened when the first case go to one district office in Chiang Mai province asking for a marriage equality, and then the way got rejected by the district office, and this was used as a ground to file a complaint to the National Human Rights Commission, and National Human Rights Commission says that okay, not allowing them to get married is against the human rights principles. And also there are other issues like signing the medical consent or for the operation, a lot of issues like that. So this is why we started with the life partnership back then. It was a little difficult because it was during the coup d'etat. So we was under the governments of the coup d'etat government. It's not like the democratic or government from the election. So we work with the Ministry of Justice starting from the life partnership law first. So by using the existing by having another separate law, but just well, it didn't end there, because the inequality were tremendous between the two laws, because same-sex couple cannot sign the consent, medical consent, cannot be a representative for any criminal charges, cannot organize a funeral, cannot enjoy the spousal welfare, cannot enjoy the joint adoption. A lot of unequal rights. So. And then somehow the world has discussed about the marriage equality. So we started to try to upgrade the life partnership bill to be as equal as possible. And then there was one research conducted by the master degree students in law, saying that well, eventually amending the law, there was nothing complicated. Just replace the term, the term of two persons instead of a man and a woman, and between a man and a wife, we replace it by this spouse. So one day, and then later we had the democratic government. That from the Move Forward Party and now to the Pheu Thai Party. So they have taught this concept and the research, and then push forward for marriage equality by just amending the terminologies in the existing law. So at the same time, there were two parallel laws, as you can see, right? The amendment of the existing Civil and Commercial Code law and the life partnership law in parallel. So but eventually, when it got into the parliament, both laws were voted yes in favor, and all the drafts. Actually, there were many different drafts in these two laws. But then when it turned, but later, when during the passing the law, there were two laws, and I was the advisor under the subcommittee. There were so many obstacles because when we look at the two laws, they look pretty much identical between the life partnership law and marriage equality. So why two laws? Like a heterosexual couple using both can use both laws, and then a same-sex couple can use only like a life partnership law, but it sounds unequal. So that's why we were worried that this could be the problem. But then again, there was one good thing happened, because at that time the Thai government had some kind of was struggling, like who to become the prime minister, from one place to another. So it was too late. So the time to continue the previous law was too late during the transition into the new government. So that's why, according to Thai law, all the laws were abolished if there was a new government, and the new government does not rectify the new law within the 90 days. But anyway, there were delays. The fight between two different parties who will come to prime minister, between Seta and Pita, right? So all the laws were abolished, and everyone had to set the zeros at the beginning. But that was good because by the time that we have the Prime Minister Seta as our new Prime Minister, since he was campaigning at the beginning, saying that. Oh, but before that, I should tell you that by the campaigning of the Pheu Thai Party before the election, no matter it was the current opposition party or the government coalition parties right now, they said that they don't want life partnership law. They only supported marriage equality when they campaigned for that. That was a good thing. So that's why eventually we did in the round in the new government, there was only the marriage equality law proposed. So there were different drafts from the civic draft, from the parliamentarians, from the government. They all the drafts for the marriage equality. So during the subcommittee elaboration, we combined all of these laws. You know what, we try to incorporate all the different drafts to make it the most perfect possible. One thing that I can tell you is that there's a law, even though that was the draft amendment, but then again, it was almost perfect because I can say that this what have to do it can be called a Thailand model, because among the 38 countries that already have the marriage equality, actually we have quite advanced in terms of providing equal rights, because for those existing countries there were some discrepancies or unequal rights of those countries that already have the marriage equality. And recently we have provided the study visit by the Chinese delegates, and also we present this one in Nepal as well. So when we said that in terms of totally equal marriage equality, we are not talking about a man and a woman only, but we talk about the two people. And also that's one point. Another point is that we updated our law to be according to international standards. For example, the age of consent is now at the age of 18 years. And in terms of engagement, in the past, only a man can propose the engagement, but now whoever can propose engagement. And also another point is that we also care for the 3,000 provinces of Thailand who are mostly a Muslim community. We don't actually force them against their religious belief. So in terms of the law, we were worrying that if we amend the civil and commercial law, another at least 50 law have to be amended. So it would take a lot of work, and a lot of people would be scared in order to amend the law for marriage equality. But now we could solve that by one suggestion, saying that at the version at the end of the law, saying that any law saying that a man and a wife, or a husband and a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, just it has to change automatically to a person and a person, and a spouse and spouse. So no trouble anymore. And now and then later there were some issues about the joint adoption, but now we have it. And also marrying with the foreign nationals. In the past, it was just only limited to only the 37 existing marriage equality law. But now anyone can come and marry in Thailand, between a Thai and another foreigners of any country in the world, or two foreigners can come and be married in Thailand as well. By the and if, for example, in any countries that do not accept, for example, in the Muslim countries, they can come and get married in Thailand if they want. And our law can be extended to you can go to any 50 districts in Bangkok, or any 850 other district offices across the country, and also at the Thai embassies as well. Around the world. So this is why we said that I said that it's called the Thailand model, because it's one of the perfect thing. And then when you said that the first law in Southeast Asia, actually, may I correct that? Actually, the first in Asia, because the Nepal and Taiwan, they have the same-sex marriage law, which is different from what we have. But so because the status of same-sex marriage appear in the country where there are laws for the civil partnership, so that's called same-sex marriage. And the countries that have marriage equality is actually same-sex marriage plus marriage equality. So you have to understand that in Thailand, it's one law for everyone. Everyone in Thailand use the same law. So that's why we said that we are the first in Asia for marriage equality, because in Taiwan they have a separated law, right? Even though equal rights, but two different laws. but according to their court verdict. And for Nepal, it's also by the court verdict, right? But temporarily court verdict. And at the moment, people can get married in Nepal, but then again, it's a separate law. So in Nepal, at the moment, and I had just joined the forum recently. When people getting married to Nepal, they have to file the petition to the court, one couple by one couple. So you have to actually, each couple have to go to the court. So after getting married in Nepal, it would be retrospective, since the day that they filed a complaint. So I just want to show you the what you call the ambience of the political the nuances, differences for you can see. So maybe, but I'm not comparing between Taiwan or Nepal that we are better. I just want you to see that we have different laws in 3 countries in Asia. Yeah, something like this.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for clarifying that. That's very insightful because marriage equality is definitely different from same-sex marriage that, as you said, are what Taiwan and Nepal has. Thank you. Just I guess I've taken so much from that because I'm really inspired by countries that have been successful in this journey. And I always keep on thinking about my home country, the Philippines, like how can we get there? So what I am taking out of that journey that you mentioned is number one, the focus on family formation was the beginning, which is very relevant to the Asian context, which is good to understand. And then bringing up inequality as being against human rights principles, as you mentioned, how that case in Chiang Mai was brought forward was I heard a very monumental step. So having I guess people who will be willing to put forward their case and call out existing laws that are discriminatory are also, I guess, key. And then I also heard making it logistically easier. For example, instead of looking at a new law, but instead look at marriage equality where it's easier because, as you mentioned, you just revise like a marriage being between a man and a woman, just being about spouses and about being partners and being able to convert existing laws by using more gender neutral terms, I think is what I heard. And I also love how it includes other revisions to the laws, like you said, the age of consent being updated, and how I didn't know that in Thailand only men can propose engagement. And it's good to know that now that is also been changed. And yeah, and the limitations in terms of foreign nationals were also addressed. That was actually my first question when the news came out. Is this something my wife and I can actually do in Thailand? Because we got married in New York, but we would of course love to also be married here if possible. That said, there's one other thing where I heard the journey in terms of the new government transitioning can have an impact, right, into the progress that has been so far. But I'm glad that the new government also was still very supportive of this journey. So yeah, I'll go to my next question. We all know, Kundani, that marriage equality is a milestone, but it's only the beginning. You mentioned it earlier, Thailand has always been dubbed as a paradise for LGBTQ individuals. But we all know, especially all of us who live here, that that's not a general statement and encompassing experience for everyone, especially for the local LGBTQ plus community. So what's next in advancing LGBTQ plus rights and eliminating gender discrimination in Thailand?
First of all, I would like to continue what you have just mentioned, that since it's been 23 years of our journey, right? And and Thailand has been recognized maybe perhaps like a paradise or LGBT paradise. But in terms of living here, well, being an LGBT person here, no matter what you want to do, like to be a cabaret, 2 women holding hands, 2 guys holding hands. Well, in terms of daily routine. that could be called, they could be regarded as a paradise that we could do. And also, as you can see, that the Thai tourism of Thailand has some of the commercials, inviting people and then using the footage of, women couples, LGBT couples like that, coming to Thailand, having their enjoy lifetime enjoying in Thailand. But they can see that that's for the daily routines. But when it comes to human rights, that's another thing. Because when you look at the perspective of the same-sex couples to live as a couples and enjoy the same rights, because that when we talk about human rights, it's about the minimum requirement for any human being that should enjoy exercise the rights, right? So all of these rights should be protected. So we have to understand that basically human rights is actually broader than the term rights, because when you talk about human rights, it's something that any human being should at least be able to enjoy. So no one should be discriminated on the ground on any ground, basically. So if for example, the same-sex couple, one passed away, even though that they have been living together for decades, and then when it comes to the hospital side, the consent, they couldn't do anything, and they couldn't contact the family, because the family of the other person might disconnect them since long time ago. So this law helped the same-sex couple to enjoy the same rights, because not having this is called discrimination. So that's why this point, become the visualization of our advocacy pertaining to LGBT issues. But so now it's not about the marriage equality anymore, like you just asked. But because now we have reached the milestone for marriage equality already, in terms of allowing individuals to be married, no matter who they are. And one thing that we need to move forward, that I will be that we have to talk about, is that it's about the intention of, and this is also part of the human rights umbrella. So now Thailand is trying to advocate for legal gender recognition. So I'm thinking about a couple of the months, the draft for the legal recognition will be tabled to the parliament already. The changing the gender markers, Mr. to Miss, Miss to Mr. So now you have to understand that at the moment around the world, there are approximately 80 countries that have already rectified the legal generation countries, but out of that 75 countries, there are some level of discriminations or some barriers. For example, you have to be the maturity, the age of maturity first, and some countries you have to go through the medical exam, a long period of the medical examination, or if you have the heterosexual couple, you have to get divorced first, right? So or some countries do not allow you to keep your sperms or your oval to in the store. But there are 5 countries, for example, Argentina, Malta, that actually have that use the concept of self-determination. Not regarding the physicality or taking people into account that they are sick and need to do this in order to have the gender reassignment surgery. Not that. We want self-determination. So the law, our proposed law, is based on this concept of self-determination. So in Thailand, according to our constitution, there are 3 ways to propose a new law. The first way came from at least 20 parliamentarians proposed in the parliament. And the second route is from the government, any government agencies. And the third one from the civic, from the people. Actually, from the people, it's the most crucial one, because whatever laws that have been successful came from the people sector. Actually, people's draft have to be successful, but it's a start to advocate. Because eventually, the draft from the government would win. But anyway, it's a good start to show that those drafts get support from the people. For example, the Gender Equality Act since 2015. That we have the gender equality law. So for that one, it's also the same model that we have done, working together with the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security, advocating inside among the politicians, parliamentarians. That was the one that we have achieved before, right? Before the marriage equality. And another one that we want to work in the future is that the laws to end all form of discrimination. So it means that that all people that we call in the public health term we call the vulnerable people, like for example the youth and then the people with disability, people with sexual gender diversity, ethnic minorities, people living with HIV/AIDS, people who use drugs, and the national migrant workers, non-formal workers, and people in these sectors. We are talking about intersectionality of the issues, saying that maybe a trans person could be an older person, right? Could be living with HIV and could be living with disability. So this kind of intersectionality, we have to understand it. And many countries that have already have the laws to protect this kind of discrimination, especially among those who have a lot of identities. So having the law and discrimination is two different things. Okay, when we have that having the marriage equality, and that's the law, right? But having some kind of discrimination is still there. Is still there because sometimes the parents will still force their sons to be married with another woman. It's still there. It's still there, and some people still don't have the courage to disclose themselves, to come out from the closet, because discrimination is still there, even though it's despite the existence of the marriage equality, or even in the workplace. If a man getting married to another man, maybe the person may not disclose that in the workplace, or even a person with the Mr. and change their title into Miss, they might still get discriminated in the workplace or in the society. You see, even though that they got dress, gender identity, everything is already feminine, but then again they could still be rejected from the employment, or people of the or people who are attracted to this another same-sex person, they still get discriminated in terms of not getting the promotion. In Thailand, there's a lot, especially in the government. I have seen that one government official who appear openly, who disclose openly as the gay person, and who's supposed to get a higher promotion, but then again it didn't happen. So I would like to tell you that in terms of the law itself and the action of the discrimination of the act of discrimination itself is two different things. So there are two things that we have to work together in parallel. Like, we advocate for the laws, but we still need to actually work on the need to eradicate discrimination. So this is something that we need to do both. And one thing that we have to do to continue, and maybe this it isn't an never-ending mission, so we have to do until the world exploded, maybe. And one thing that I could tell you is that in terms of the discrimination, as also a lawyer, there are four foundations of the discrimination. First, maybe it happens because people don't know. Maybe people are curious. Second one is they hate because of the hatred. The third one is about their values or their personal attitudes, their custom cultures. And the last one is that it's about the laws and regulation, existing laws and regulation, that it might be protecting only a certain group of people, for example, heterosexual couple. So we have these four areas are the grounds that of our work in order to ensure and improve the equality, to address this and come up with the solutions. These are some things, the mechanisms that we still need to continue. And in Thailand, at the moment, after 10 years, after the one decade, we have seen a lot of movement in terms of the public policies pertaining to the equality, because we have worked a lot. But this could be my suggestion to other countries as in terms of lessons learned, that, because in the past 10 years, our work with other stakeholders, we work with them, like, let's say, that collaboratively. We engage them and work with them collaboratively. There are four different stakeholders that we're talking about. The first one is the policymakers, right? The governments or the politicians. And the second group is the international organizations, right? Now, and third is the civil society engagement of the civil society. For example, I myself I'm a part of the NGO, right? And the last one is the engaging the community and also the people who owns the problem. So all different stakeholders have to work together. And in Thailand, it's successful because of this. But in the past, the reason that it was successful that because now I'm 60 years old, so I did the researches because people work in silo, in the separately. Government work their own, civil society our own, and then international organization they keep talking on their own, and then how is it diplomatic? So we didn't work together back then, so that's why it was not successful. But in Thailand now it's the environment, it's the ambience. People come to sit on the table and work together from different sectors, and mostly this will lead to the success. For example, I just came back from the meeting in the parliament talking about the amendment of just recently, just 1 hour ago. I just talked in the subcommittee about about less crime, the hate crime, hate crime in terms of the transgender getting killed. That there was a big case in Bangkok a couple of weeks ago that the trans woman was murdered horribly. So that's why we try to push the law to stop the hate crime like this, and this part of the movement of LGBT because you can see that you start to see the hate speech surfacing in the society. So that's that was the meeting that I had an hour ago to talk about the stopping or preventing hate crime because we have seen more emerging reports that the trans women being treated badly because of hatred and being murdered on the ground of the hate crime. That we propose more punishment, the more harsher punishments. This is something that we just talked. I just talked an hour ago.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kundani. That's really like what a journey. And you have highlighted and responded to, I guess, my last question, which was supposedly advice that you could give activists and allies in other countries who are pushing for similar reforms. You mentioned really close collaborations with the different communities like the policymakers, the international organizations, civil society engagement, and the LGBTQ community itself. And you also highlighted that there continues to be problems on harassment, discrimination, and even other bigger problems that need to be resolved in Thailand. So with that in mind, I am very appreciative of advocates and activists like you who are pouring in their life and everything towards this inclusive legislation. So thank you so much, Kundani. With that, I think we're going to end today's session. So I'd like to appreciate Kundani, Kun-Om, and the Rainbow Sky Association for spending time with us in today's podcast. And if you found this conversation valuable, please do share it with your network, subscribe to our podcast, and connect with us to keep the diversity, equity, and inclusion dialogue going. Again, thank you so much, Kundani, Kun-Om, and until next time.
So thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time too.
Thank you for listening to CB Up for Discussion. For more information about our work across Asia, head to the Community Business website.